Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैता चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद.
Continuing our reading of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya-lila, chapter 20, entitled The Lord Instructs. Sanatan Goswami. So, yeah, last week we just discussed one verse, text 36. So we're on 37.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Sanatana Goswami had a servant with him. So he's just sent the servant to go home. And they had one gold coin the servant had in his possession. So he said, you keep that. So the idea would be then the servant can utilize that money for his family or whatever. So that's also very kind, if you're responsible for a person, and they've been serving you, like say like a servant and you're the master, or like that a boss and they're your worker or whatever like that, you're taking service from them. So you should be grateful for that. And, whatever they require, whatever they need, that's your obligation, responsibilities to provide for them. It's very bad to take service and like exploit another person or more than one person, and then leave them in a difficult situation, difficult position. I mean, even like when we were managing in Australia, we knew, according to the Australian immigration on a religious worker visa, they can only stay in the country for 4 years and they have to leave. They can't renew it after that. So we knew they're not going to be able to stay there forever. So we tried to help them the best we could so that when they have to go back home to India, then at least they'll have some money. They can get a bit of land and help set up a house. And because they all have families and that, the Pujaris usually. And they were really grateful for that we looked up. We gave them good amount of money, and then, they could peacefully, do this service. And the idea is also, if the master or leader or whatever takes away all the anxieties of the worker or the servant or whatever, then they can wholeheartedly dedicate themselves to that work, that service. And, we had, really hardworking pujaris, and they did brilliant service, dressing the deities and cooking and looking after the guests and everything. And the farm became very popular destination for the guests because, all the devotees there worked so hard and, created a really nice thing. But if you don't look after the people under you, then they'll do the minimum. Then they're going to do the minimum, and then they're going to not want to stay like that as well. And so, but it's also apart from that, yeah, it's not the right attitude of a devotee, definitely, to exploit. We should never exploit any living entity, not just a human being, but even the animals, of course. And that's why we don't, kill animals and stuff, but eat animals, because it's wrong to exploit other living entities. We should always try to work for the welfare, work for the benefit of other living entities like that, and never just take advantage and abuse any living entity or exploit any living entity. But we see them all as our brothers and sisters, just in different dresses. But we're all Krishna's children. He's the father of everyone. We're all his children, and we just have different dresses. And sure, someone's acting in the position of a master, and someone's acting in a position of a servant, and that's going to be there. But materially, you need someone's a leader and someone follows. If everyone's a leader, obviously society's not going to work. And if everyone's a follower, society's not going to work. That's why, communism won't work. Did you know that? Communism won't work because they put everyone as a Sudra. And they can't make it work that put everyone on an equal level materially. They can't, because they'll still have the managers. So then they're not equal, are they? So you're still going to have a few people on top. And then all they've done, they've just cut out the Vaishyas. They've cut out the Vaishyas, and you've just got a few leaders, and then all the rest are Sudras, and they've just cut out the Vaishyas and the business people. They've cut them out. So that system is not going to work, trying to artificially make everyone materially the same. So spiritually we are the same, but materially you can't make everyone the same. Someone has to lead, someone has to follow, and like that. And so that's very, very good of Sanatana Goswami. He's left his servant has to go. So he's given him whatever money that was there. He gave it to the servant, so he won't have any anxiety. He can be peaceful. And now also Sanatana Goswami is peaceful. And because it's mentioned there, he lost all of his anxiety. Do you remember, Narendra, why I said that Sanatana Goswami got free from anxiety?
I think one thing is that he doesn't have any money now, so nobody's going to rob him.
Yes,
or anything.
correct.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's so nobody's going to basically bother him. People usually attracted towards that.
Yeah,
and then
And also I said, I mean, the main thing is that he's free from anxiety now because his servant is gone. Now, why would that be? Because often in the material world, the way it works is that that we're quite rebellious, that the living in is quite rebellious, especially in Kali Yuga, and we're not fully obedient. We're not fully obedient. So if you're not following the instructions of the leader, then you become a disturbance. Then you become a disturbance. So he should never have kept all that gold without telling Sanatan in the first place. And then even he surrendered 7 out of 8 gold coins, but he still kept one. So he's still a bit of a rebel. Even though, Sanatan asked him to hand over all the money, he still hid one. So, he's still got a bit of a, independent streak. If the servant is always trying to please the master very selflessly, then that's not going to create an anxiety for the master or the leader. But if the servant or disciple or whatever is a bit, still has some selfish motivation other than what it should be, just to please the master, then it's definitely going to be a cause of anxiety. And I remember I had one particular person when I was a manager in Australia that he was always working against me, even though I was the leader. And boy, he disturbed me a lot. He was a cause of great anxiety. And so, yeah, that's just expected in the material world. And actually, it's a relief. Like I felt the relief too when I got free from having to manage or lead such a person that was, not really cooperating, didn't have a cooperative spirit. And that reminds me, Prabhupada's, one of the final instructions Prabhupada said to his disciples before he left in 1977, he said, you can show your love for me, you show how you love me by how you cooperate together after I leave. That's very interesting. So Prabhupada's saying to his disciples, this is what he said to his disciples, you can show your love for me, how much you love me, that will be proven, shown by how you cooperate together after I leave. So that's what pleases the leader, the teacher, or whatever, the guru, is that cooperation, that everyone's working together in harmony and unified and harmoniously working together. Like Narendra, right? Like parents, right? If you see your children all working together very nicely and harmoniously, you feel very happy. If they're fighting and arguing, quarreling, how will you feel? isn't it? You'll be so disturbed that they can't get on together and they can't work together. That'll be a great disturbance. But if they're very, lovingly helping each other and serving each other and cooperating together, working for, and they should be cooperating for what purpose? To please the parents. The kids should cooperate together to please the parents. The disciples cooperate together to please the spiritual master. That, we all cooperate together to please God. And that's the unifying factor. Although we're all different in one sense, but we all have that common connection, ultimately to God, or connected to the same spiritual master, or like that, the same leader in an organization or something like that. But that's ideally what it should be there. But if there's a lack of cooperation, like I said, and you're a bit of a rebel and just got your own desires you're trying to fulfill, and then it's going to be a cause of anxiety, like that, a cause of anxiety for the leader. Even like Prabhupada, if he had disciples that were disobedient, it would cause him great anxiety. They didn't follow instructions, and that would be a great anxiety for Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada's feeling as a guru that it's my responsibility to take the soul back to Godhead. Actually, that's the prime duty of the guru. If someone becomes their disciple, it's his responsibility to take the person back to Godhead. But he can only take them back to Godhead if they follow his instructions. If they don't follow it, how can they expect, like that? But still the guru will feel bad that, they're not following my instructions and they're going off the path, off the track, and they won't be able to go back to Godhead. So it feels bad about that. And to see the person is suffering due to that. And like I said, that's what we've discussed before. I mean, Narendra, when we're doing the Ishopanishad, the very first in the process of knowledge, the first item mentioned is humility. So that's where the humility comes in. That's the very beginning of a Vedic education. You have to be humble. What is the meaning of humble? Oh, you just talk that I'm the lowest, I'm the worst, I'm a fool, and you grovel on the floor and, always have your hands folded. No. But the main thing, that can be there, but the main thing is that you do what you're told. That's it, simple. If you're humble, you do what you're told. And if you're not humble, which is the opposite of humble, is proud. If you're proud, you don't do what you're told. Now, what are you telling me what to do? I know what to do. Don't tell me what to do. Get lost. I know what to do. I know everything like that. So, and then you can't progress. You can't learn anything. It's impossible to get real knowledge. That closes us off if we become proud, and you can't follow instructions. You can't, accept that there's a superior person that has more knowledge or whatever, and we're going to take instructions from them. If we're proud, that's not going to work. But humility is the very first item mentioned in Vedic education that needs to be trained. That training is there to help one be humble. And if one's humble, then one can learn everything. And then you can go further, so much further. Ultimately, the ultimate aspect of knowledge is to realize God. But the beginning is humility, and the ultimate end of all knowledge is to realize God. And but to get to that point of realizing God, we have to have that first, as a foundation, is always be very humble. And not only in the beginning, but it has to always be there. Not I'm humble when I join the Hare Krishna movement and I'm a nobody, I'm just a little bhakta. And later on, when I become a manager or a guru or a sannyasi or a whatever, a GBC or whatever, then I don't have to be humble anymore. No, that's not correct. One always has to be humble from beginning to end like that. And we always have to be obedient to our, superior authorities like that. And if one thinks I'm so senior, I'm so superior that I don't have anyone above me, then that's also proud, There's that story, right, which is very instructive, that going back to Mahabharata time 5,000 years ago, that Krishna sent Yudhisthira Maharaj and Duryodhana on a mission. Yudhisthira's mission is go around the world, find someone uh, who's worse than you, lower than you. And Duryodhana's mission was to go around the world, find someone better than you. So they both did that, went around, and Yudhisthira came back and said, I couldn't find anyone that's worse than me. But then I finally thought I found someone that's more, more lower than me. And then, but I saw one good quality that they had that I don't have. So no, I never found anyone that's worse than me. And then Geridon reported and said, no, I couldn't find anyone that's better than me. So, opposite, so Yudhisthira is that's the consciousness of a devotee, that I'm very low and, like that, everyone's better than me. And the consciousness of a demon, non-devotee is that, I'm the very best. No one is as good as me, like that. So, completely different mentality. So a devotee is not to do with what you look like necessarily, that you wear a dhoti and tilak and shaven head or whatever, or that you're an angel with wings and you float in space or whatever. And a demon is not that you've got horns and red eyes and fangs and everything, but it's to do with this kind of different behavior and mentality. The devotee's humble, the demon's pride. You can look that up near the beginning of the 16th chapter, which is called the Divine Demonic Nature in Bhagavad Gita. It's given there, the qualities, beginning with the qualities of a divine person, and then it goes after about text 5 or 6, the qualities of a demon. And the first quality mentioned of a demon is pride and arrogance. Pride and arrogance, like that. And would anyone like to say anything about that? I spent a bit of time talking about, because it's actually a very important subject. We might just, most people would just skim over this verse and think, well, there's nothing to talk about in here. But I can see a lot in this. There's everything. This verse wouldn't be in the book in the first place if it wasn't of some profound significance. They're not just filling in pages with useless information. Every single word in these books like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Caitanya Caritamrita, every single word is loaded with meaning. But we might think, oh, it's nothing. He's just carrying a water pot and he's lost his anxiety and he's going on. His servant's gone back home. But actually, you can take a lot out of it if you have some, Krishna's giving some insight. So it's a lot there. Would anyone like to say anything?
I think that's one of the critical quality, I think, if you want to progress spiritually or materially as well. It's just spiritually more important, because if you are proud, or you as we know, you can learn from anybody. In material life as well, there are so many things somebody can know. Somebody who is riding a rickshaw, he might have some experiences which I don't. So there'll always be things which somebody and I don't know. There are multiple things. So somebody said there are 1,000 things I know which you don't know, and there are 1,000 things you know and I don't know. So we should be proud that I know. As you said, if you're too proud, then you're going to stop learning. That's the end of it. Then you learn anything.
Finish. That's education over.
That's very critical, I think. It's very critical to be open and being receptive and listening people, everyone, irrespective. Don't have the hard-coded thing in your beliefs that I'm right and all those things.
Yes.
It's very critical, I think.
Good. Nice. Thank you. Mala, anything you wanted to say?
No, that's
good.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to go and ask some of the guests outside to turn their internet off, because I think my one's going slow. Can you want to have a go at reading the next verse, 37? Narendra, you've had a bit of practice. You can read the Bengali and repeat that, and I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay.
Chali. Yeah, you can try.
No,
Chali goes. It's okay. I'm not good too. I'm just trying, just the chali gosani tabe aila hajipure sandhya kale wasila ek udyan bitare. Chali means walking and mocking. Chalo, you must have heard chalo.
Yeah. Chalo. Move.
Chalo, you must have heard that. It's used all the time.
And then they put jaldi after it, means quickly. Chalo, jaldi. Quickly move.
Hurry up. Okay,
Jaldi, jaldi.
and
Yeah.
walking. Yeah, walking and walking means chala chali. Sanatan Goswami finally arrived at a place called Hajipura. That evening, he sat down within a garden. So he basically reached at a place called Hajipura, and then he sat down in a garden. That's all about it.
So this is a time when they didn't have cars and trains and so forth. So anywhere they wanted to go, they'd go by walking. Go by walking. Mm. Mm. Actually, this is the natural life, just to walk in the nature. It's so nice. Good for our physical health. It's a big thing they talk about nowadays. It's called grounding or earthing. Just having that physical contact with Mother Earth. That time also no shoes, so bare feet. That your feet are in contact with the earth is so good for our health. Actually, so many of our mental anxieties and stress, everything, if you just have your skin, your hands, feet, whatever, in contact with the earth, you'll find all the anxieties go away. Because all our negative energy, because in Vedic culture, there's 7 mothers. 7 mothers. You know what they are?
No.
7 mothers?
Now a couple
Some of
of
them?
some of them, not all of them.
Dharti, I mean, the Bhumi, I don't know.
Yeah, so Mother
One
Earth.
is
Your obviously start with the birth mother. Your birth mother's one. And Mother Earth. So that motherly contact is just like when you're with a baby with the mother's breast and everything on the mother is immediately peaceful, feeling safe, no fear, everything there. So Earth Mother is the same. You touching your Mother Earth, then all the anxiety, fear, you feel secure, everything. So Mother Earth takes all our negative energy away and giving positive energy. And they've done scientific research. Even I saw a video. They have a child connected to a machine that could read the electricity in the body and is standing on concrete, and the reading is very high. And then the man asked the child, "You stand on the soil," and immediately went to 0. It went from very high reading, so much electrical energy radiation there, and immediately went to 0. Within 1 second of standing on the earth, all that electrical energy went to 0 like that. It's so good for our physical and mental health. Even before I joined the Hare Krishnas, I was a gardener. So I would always have my hands, at least, in contact with the earth. And because I have a Vata body type, so gets quite stressful. But I would always notice that when I do gardening, all my stress goes away. All my stress goes away. Interestingly, in Buddhism, one of the recommendations, recreation in Buddhism, is to do wrestling. And why the heck would the Buddhists recommend wrestling? Because wrestling brings you in touch with the ground. Wrestling means you're always being pushed on the ground. They're doing it on the ground. So that's actually very good to create more peace in the mind, is that contact with the ground. But now we cover all the ground with concrete and we wear rubber-soled shoes and everything. So we're actually never in contact with the ground. People up 10 stories, skyscraper, like that, far away from the soil, like that. And we get more and more problems the more we're disconnected from Mother Earth. And the other mothers is the wife of the king, the wife of the king, because the king is like the father, so the queen is like the mother, very motherly mood, and the wife of the guru Patni. So the guru is also like the father of the disciple, and the wife of the guru is like the mother. And then the nurse. So another woman that's breastfeeding her children, sometimes she would look after other children. So she's the nurse mother, is also regarded as a mother, like that. And then the cow, of course, Gaumata. Also, like mother is giving milk, and also cow is giving milk. So cow is like mother, you know. Actually, the people that come here, all these walkers that come, they maximum say the best thing they did here was be with the cows. They feel so good after being with the cows. It's like a mother. All the stress, everything gone. They're so happy to be with the cows like that. So like that, there's 7 mothers, So any of these contact with these different mothers is very good for us. So walking, this is very good for our health. And that's one of the best things you can do. Try to walk more. And running is not so good because it's more an impact on your knees and ankles and everything. It can wear out. I have a friend, he's worn out his knees. He said, doctor said you could never run again because you've just wrecked your knees through all I mean, run short distances okay, but not every day and especially running on the hard roads and everything is completely not so good. But yeah, walking, especially bare feet on the earth, is very good. Like that for health is so good. And so he arrived at this Hajipur. Another thing I would that's worthwhile talking about is he sat down within a garden. What's significant about that? This is good for spiritual life, in a natural environment, in a garden. It means some fragrant flowers will be there and also some fruits, maybe some vegetables. It means you can get your food from a garden. This is the problem in the city. Where is the food? Everywhere's concrete and asphalt and all glass and rubber and everything. But that's all very nice looking. But what are you going to have to eat there? If you go to a garden, usually in the garden means there'll be some stream going through there, some river. You can get water and you can rest under the trees. Garden means trees, right? So you'll get shade. Imagine like India, right? It's very hot. You can rest under the tree. It's very cool under the forest. And also you can even collect fruits and flowers from the trees and eat them and everything. And even sometimes you can cut the wood from the trees, some dry branches are there, and you can make a fire and you can cook also. If you have the wood there, you can also cook. So everything that you need, you can get from the land, from the garden. Actually, it's said in Vedic culture, the definition of wealth is 2 things. You regard as a wealthy person if you have 2 things. Any idea what they are? What are the 2 things that makes you wealthy according to Vedic culture?
Healthy. You have to be healthy, physically.
Yeah, but then how do you get that health from what? The first need of the body needs 4 things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So what's the first thing? Eating is the main thing, eating. So we need to eat. So the eating, what do you get that from? So the wealth is land and cows. I said that's the definition of wealthy person. If your person had land and he had cows on that land, then he's wealthy. Why is that wealth? Because the food problem is solved. You're eating, your need to eat is sorted out. So that's what we're doing here. We've got land and we have cows. So we're not milking them, but I get milk from a farmer down the road. But we have cows, but not milking them. But ideally, milking them is best. But we're growing our own food. So we have a big garden, 2-acre garden, and so many fruits and vegetables and nice fragrant flowers. And the flowers, what's the benefit of the flowers? If they're fragrant, you smell them. And that's aromatherapy. Now they call that aromatherapy. So that's very good, especially for mental health. Prabhupada said to his disciple, every day you bring me 1 fragrant rose. He said, this is very good for health. Very good for health. Actually, I met 2 walkers that came here last year. I was talking about the benefits of smelling these fragrant flowers. And they really agreed with me because they said, we've just started in the hospital to use lavender oil to give to the patients that have insomnia, means they can't sleep. So they were getting the same result from the lavender oil as from the sleeping pill, where the sleeping pill has so many side effects and very expensive. But the lavender oil has no bad side effect and also available, very easily available. So they were really agreeing with me. Yeah, so many benefits from all these nice smelling things, like the flowers and some herbs, and like mint, even leaves, right? Mint, rosemary, mint. these things very good for lemon balm, and tulsi, of course, tulsi, like that even leaves, fragrant leaves, and also the flowers, of course. Here we have some lovely jasmine ones, gardenia, champak, like that nice magnolia, all fragrant things. They're very unfortunate in Kali Yuga, now people growing flowers but no smell, completely useless. This is called tamagun plants. Even plants have different gunas. The sattvic plant has got nice smell or nice fruit, tasty fruit, and the tamasic one has nothing useful, no smell, nothing to eat. Like that, or Narendra just disappeared.
I couldn't hear him that well, actually.
Oh yeah.
Like I felt like his internet was going out.
Yeah, we've all having different issues. Today I had we have a flour mill, and today the flour mill stopped working, so we're not having a very good day with devices today.
Devices, okay. I think
All the devices.
I was there when you got that flour mill.
Yeah, it's been all good till today. I think I blocked it up with something. I have to try to fix it tomorrow. That's one of my jobs.
I know.
Oh, we've been using it quite a lot, yeah, especially now with all these. Today we went to Caitanya and we fed about 150 people a free meal again today.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was great.
At the supermarket.
Yeah. We got two volunteers, two woofers with us, and they came with me, and Gianty stayed home, and she fed 12 people here.
Oh, wow.
So she's fed for 12 people here, and they're camping tonight, and we fed 150 in town. So yeah, really trying to pump out the prasadam.
It's funny you're talking about the garden, because today I was thinking, I really miss being in a garden, and my courtyard's all sort of cement, and I've got a few plants in pots and things like that, but I was thinking, I was just looking up community gardens, because I thought, I'm not going to the farm much anymore, so I like to be in a garden. They've got a lot of community gardens around where you can go and go grow food and things like that. So I was only looking it up like an hour ago, because I was missing that. I used to really like gardening years ago. Before I met you guys, I used to be in a community garden, and I really enjoyed it. It's so good for you to be outside in the dirt and everything like it.
Yeah, that's the way Krishna intended us to live, more closely connected with the nature. But now human beings have gone away from the nature, and we experience, so many, difficulties. But the solution is there. We just need to go back to basics, back to more closer with nature.
Well, I often walk in the park and I just take my shoes off, because
Good, great.
Yeah, it's
Brilliant.
so much, and I feel the difference straight away.
Yeah,
Within
it's tangible.
About 5 minutes, I feel a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
People look at you like, oh, look at that hippie, like with their shoes. I don't care, because
don't care. Yeah.
And I got one of those earthing bed sheets.
Oh yeah, good one.
Yeah. I don't know if it really helped with my insomnia, but felt like it helped with aches and pains and things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, just keep trying things, see what works. Hey, what happened, Narendra?
We talked about at the start of the meeting, my phone heat up.
Oh, really?
Isn't that weird?
Are you running off your phone? I thought it was a laptop.
I didn't actually check. No, it's my phone. I'm not using my laptop. I've got a PC actually, but so it just so I just put a fan so that it's coming down.
Oh, really? Well,
did you put it in the freezer?
And I'm not charging it. So it's like, it's a bit weird.
Okay.
Yeah, but it just stops and shut down your phone. That's it. But I'm
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. The fan is on now, so should be all right.
Oh, okay. Well, it's scorching there. Okay.
It's like 30
It's
degrees
hot here.
here. It's
Oh,
really
really?
like,
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
hotter here. Yeah.
it's warming up here too, but not as much as there. Yeah,
It's
so
like almost
that's a
like
good
summer.
life. You know, and Krishna himself, when Krishna came to this world, where did he live? He lived in a garden, you know, Vrindavan. Vrindavan means a forest, you know, so why is Krishna doing that? To show by his example what's the ideal way to live. And he lived with cows, you know, it was a cowherd village. He lived in a village and, you know, surrounded by forests, beautiful. The Yamuna River was there and beautiful forests along the river and peacocks and cows and lotuses in the water and you know, so many cows and everything. So he's showing by his example, this is the ideal life. This is the ideal life, you know. So human beings, we should, especially devotees, we're supposed to be following Krishna, right? So we should try to, you know, follow his example, and that's very good for us. Of course, even we can't do it all the time because, you know, we're committed to being in the city or whatever. That's okay, but whenever you can, you know, if you have a holiday or something, take a break, go into a nice, you know, kind of, you know, natural area, or on the weekends, or, you know, when you have your Christmas holidays and really just feel that difference is so good for us. Go to a natural place like that. Unfortunately, most people they have a holiday, they go to another city. They go from one city to another city, you know. And I see it so much, you know, people are so busy during the week, Monday to Friday, driving in their car to work, back and forth to work. And then on the weekend, what do? They get in their car again and just driving around, driving around, driving around. They just, you'd think, well, they've got a break. Well, just stay away from the car. But no, they're just addicted to the car. You know, sometimes it's just as busy on the weekend as it is Monday to Friday. Sometimes I think, oh, it'll be good. I'll drive on the weekend to the city and then there won't be so much traffic. But there's as much traffic on the weekend because all the crazy people, they're just driving, 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 you know. So we wonder why we have so many problems, you know. So yeah, try to just walk around, you know, just be in nature, walk around, just stay away from the car. And it's very good for us. Okay, let's 38. Say Haji Pure Rahe Sri Kanta Taranama Gosanira Bhagini Pati Kare Rajakama. Narendra, you can read.
Okay. In Hajipur, there was a gentleman named Shrikant, who happened to be the husband of Sanatan Goswami's sister.
Hmm.
He was engaged there in government service.
Okay, yep. So he's met a relative there. Okay, next one.
Shrikant had 300,000 gold coins with him, which had been given to him by emperor for the purchase of horses. Thus Shrikant was buying horses and dispatching them to emperor.
Hmm. So that's a good job, isn't it, to work for the government? So even back then, government job, very good. You know, very good to get government job. You know, previously it's very secure also, a lot of security in the government job. But like now in New Zealand, for example, that's not there anymore. Now the government is sacking so many of employees. I don't know what it's like in Australia, but now the New Zealand government is sacking so many workers. So even that's not very secure anymore, a government job. But of course, the government is so much money, you know, because they're collecting the taxes, right? So like the government has given him so much money to get horses for the government purposes. And of course, he would be getting a good salary. That's not all his money, of course. That's to purchase horses, but definitely he'll be getting a good salary. So it means he's quite a rich man. Mm. So his job was to find suitable horses and then pass them on to the government. Okay, next one.
When Shrikant was sitting in an elevated place, he could see Sanatan Goswami. That night he took a servant and went to see Sanatan Goswami.
Mm. So yeah, often these rich people like that, they'll have a very nice location for their house, you know. And people even these days, right? If you have money, you'll try to get a place with a good view, right? Overlooking especially the ocean. That's very popular. You'll get a place that overlooks the ocean, or you're high up and you get a good view of surrounding, you know, hills or whatever like that. So people with more money can get a nice elevated place like that. So he can where he's sitting in his place, he's looking down into this garden and he can see his relative there, Sanatana Goswami. So that night he went with a servant to see, oh, my relative is there, what's going on? Okay, next one.
They met, had many conversations. Sanatana Goswami told him in detail about his arrest and release.
Hmm. So when you meet a friend after a long time absence, obviously you tell about, you know, what you've been up to and everything like that. So they're obviously, you know, talking about, you know, how they've both been and what they've been up to. So Sanatan mentioned that he'd been in prison and then he got released like that. So they would have obviously been very happy to see each other, to meet each other. When friends, you know, after a long separation, they meet, they're obviously very happy. Reunion, like a little reunion, and just discussing about how their life has been. Okay, next one.
Shrikant then told Sanatan Goswami, stay for at least 2 days and dress up like a gentleman. Abandon these dirty garments.
Mm. Yeah, so remember he's very rich. Srikant's very rich, so he's seen that Sanatana Goswami looks a bit a bit of a vagabond, a bit ragged. And also he's probably tired, right? He'll be tired from his traveling, been walking, remember? So he's been walking for big distances. And just like these people that come here, they've walked 20 kilometers from the Caitanya. They've walked 20 kilometers to come here. And tomorrow also, when they leave here, they walk another 20 kilometers. So they get tired, you know, and they get hungry also. They eat a lot when they come here, you know, so they're very tired and they go to bed very early because they're really wiped out. They go to bed early and they wake up early and then they again start walking. So yeah, it's quite tiring walking. And so that's nice, you know, a nice service he's offering. You just rest here and you know, have a bath and I'll give you clean clothes, have some nice food. So this is an offer. But what's interesting is how Sanatana Goswami responds to this. So this is what we call sense gratification. So he's offering some nice sense gratification for Sanatan. You know, I'll give you nice clothes, nice food, good place to rest, everything, which is good for the body, you know. But let's see how he responds. Next one.
Sanatan Goswami replied, I shall not stay here even for a moment. Please help me cross the Ganges. I shall leave immediately.
Now, a materialistic person, if you hears this, he's going to think this guy's a nutcase. He's completely crazy, because you know you're being, and he doesn't have to pay for this. You know, this is offered for free because he's a relative, right? He's not going to charge him. He's not going to charge him $100 a night to stay at his house. It's free, you know. So someone's offering you all the nice clothes, nice food, nice bedding, everything, and you refuse it. A materialistic person would say you're crazy, mate. What's wrong with you? Like that. But a devotee's mentality is very different. That's the thing. Our goal is not sense gratification, you know, but bodily comfort. Prabhupada points out the main goal of modern society. I really like. It struck me when Prabhupada said it's so true. When he said the goal of modern society is bodily comfort. That's the goal, isn't it? Would you agree or disagree? It's bodily comfort, you know. And the body's made up of senses, so we call it sense gratification. So, you know, sense gratification means bodily comfort, you know. If you can't understand what sense gratification means, translate it to bodily comfort, you know, because that's what it means, you know. Basically nice food, you know, nice clothes, nice house, like that, and you know, in many cases, nice sex life, you know, just satisfy the senses like that. Nice things to look at, to hear, to smell, to taste, all these kind of, you know, for the senses like that. But he's refused. I'm not going to stay for a moment. And a materialist would say, you've lost the plot, mate. You've completely lost the plot. You know, and he's and not a, and like I said, not that he has to pay for it, but it's being given, and he still doesn't want it like that. Now, the question I'm going to ask you, why? Why the hell would he do that? You know, what if he's not interested in this goal of bodily comfort, logically speaking, what does that mean? That means he must have some higher goal. Think about it. If he's not interested in bodily comfort, sense gratification, unless he is crazy, then that means he must have something more better than that, isn't it? Because you would only give up something, right, if you've got something more better to replace it with, right? And we call that param dristva nivartate. You got a higher taste. If you have a higher taste, you can give up the lower taste, you know, isn't it? People say, oh, you Hare Krishnas, you don't take drugs, you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't eat meat, you don't have sex, whatever like that. They think you're crazy. What's wrong with you? But what they don't realize is the devotee's experiencing something more better. Otherwise, if you're not experiencing something more better, how is it possible you're going to give up those things that ordinarily are very enjoyable, very pleasurable? Because the devotee's getting more enjoyment, isn't it? What, do you want to say anything about that?
I was thinking
And
about when you said it's sense gratification. I mean, the opposite is austerity, you know. And if you look at any of the in Bhagavatam or anywhere, people, you know, like Dhruv Maharaj or he did tapasya, you know, they do a lot of austerity. I mean, opposite of it's like, you know, you're going away from sense gratification. And God looks at it in a very good way that you're going away from sense gratification. And almost all of them, I mean, Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, they are going through difficult, you know, giving body very difficult situations so that they can please God. And that's the way they are trying to please God, because they are going away from sense gratification.
yeah.
I mean, that resonates from what you're saying, you know, we are more into sense gratification. And
you'll see that in the
likely
life of every devotee. Yeah, you see that in, like, whether it's Prahlad, Dhruva, you know, everyone, they're always like
anybody,
that.
even Ravana or anybody whosoever has wanted to get something from Lord, he need to go through tapasya or austerities. Things, you know, he need to give it for some time or some years before he temporarily.
But then the difference will be that the demon wants to get something from the Lord, and the devotee wants to give something to the Lord. You know.
I mean, that's the difference between real spiritually, you know, advanced person or somebody who's temporary, like Ramana. He did also do some tapasya and all those. When he got it, then he forgot about everything else. You know, just utilize it in the wrong way. But that's the part. I mean, that's, you can see the contrast. We are so into, you know, bodily gratification, sense gratification so much, and that's where it's. And as you said, he must be walking in really tired. If I was like him, I am thinking, oh wow, I've got an opportunity. I'm so lucky. I would have gone with him,
but he
and
said,
slept and rest and eat whatever.
Of course,
I was just thinking.
Okay, so what is it that's so attractive? What is it, though, that's so attractive to Sanatana Goswami that he doesn't even want to have a rest for a moment?
I think you said that he get more satisfaction in, you know, going for to see Mahaprabhu rather than, you know.
Yes, and Joy just mentioned that too. Yeah.
And since he was a devotee, he is more aware of these traps, you know, these sense gratification traps. He knew if I stay here for 2 days, I might stay for 4 days, 7 days, you know, just you get used to it.
Yeah.
That might
but I mean, that's there for a neophyte devotee. That could definitely be a trap. But actually, for Sanatana Goswami, he's just hanging out. He's just so eager to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the higher taste for Sanatana Goswami. he knows that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Varanasi. So he's just burning to meet him there. So I'm not going to stop for a moment. I just want to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So for the devotee to see the Lord and serve the Lord is unlimited times better than the softest bed, the best food, the best clothes, everything. That's like nothing. That's like you can't compare. Once the devotee has a taste for serving the Lord and seeing the Lord and associating with the Lord, then there's nothing material that compares to that. And
That
then also
shows that he was spiritually so
yeah,
he was spiritually so advanced, right? I mean,
yeah,
the trap, he's which can bring him down and stop him from. So he's really, I mean, what is right and what is not for me. And then, yeah, this tells, yeah, he's spiritually really advanced.
yes, yeah,
Much
yeah,
ahead of others.
yeah. And then once you have that higher taste and attraction for the Lord, then Maya, you're free from Maya. Then there's not so much worry that you get, like you said, that if I stay here for a few days, I'll get too comfortable and everything. But yeah, that kind of Maya can only affect those that don't have that higher taste for serving the Lord and like that. But the advanced devotee, then Maya can't touch. That Maya can't touch. Okay, let's try one or two more.
Yeah. With great care, Srikant gave him a woolen blanket and helped Swami depart again.
Yeah.
Can we read the next one?
Oh no, I'll just say one
After a
or
few
two
days.
words about this.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's you could tell there's a loving relationship here because that's why it's said with great care. If it's a business dealing, you won't see those words with great care. But with great care means love. That if you love someone, then with great care, you give it. Even like someone comes to your house, some guest or whatever, do you just throw down a plate of food in front of them? No, with great care, you'll put the food down and will you just slop the food into the plate and then some of it splashes onto their clothes? No, you'll put it down with great care like that. So if you really have some feeling or love for someone, then whatever you do, you'll do it with great care. It means with attention. You'll be paying attention. You'll be concentrating. I want to do this service nicely. Often with a lot of people doing their jobs, right? Would you say they're doing it with great care? No, because they don't like their job. They don't like it and they're just doing it mechanically. There's not really much thought going into it. They're just doing it like really mechanically and everything. There's definitely not a lot of great care there. But when it's in terms of a loving relationship, when you really love someone, then whatever you do, you want to do a nice job. You want to make them feel really happy, and you give some nice presentations, give some gift. Like here, he's giving a gift. If you love someone, then you'll give them a gift, and so you give the gift and the other person accepts the gift from you. And another one is you give food and they accept the food from you. And another one is you reveal your mind to them and they also hear what you're saying and they give some, solutions or advice or whatever like that. So these are called the 6 loving exchanges and between devotees. And that's mentioned in the Nectar of Instruction, that there's 6 loving exchanges. And that's what builds a relationship. A lot of people these days, there's men in modern society, we have a lot of problem with their relationships are very dysfunctional. But these relationships can be improved if we follow this advice from the Vedic scripture. And like I said, these 6 exchanges, that if you want to develop nice relationships, then you give some nice prasada and the other person take it. You give gift, they take the gift, you reveal your mind and so forth like that. And then the relationships develop very nicely, and it develops love between the people like that. But in modern society, they don't know the science. So there's no gifts, there's no food given also. No food given, no gifts, and no revealing one's heart, no revealing one's mind, you know. Everything is very official and like that. You won't open up to the person. So, and that way we wonder why we don't have any good relationships, because we don't know the science. We're not following the science of relationships. So even in terms of relationships in the material world, we should turn to the scriptures. Gives us the best advice for that, you know. So people say, oh, these books are just old histories or something. It's no use for us now. That's a complete load of rubbish. This is as useful for us now as it was, you know, 500 years ago or 5,000 years ago, or it will still be so useful in 5,000 years in the future, 10,000 years in the future, because these things are always essential things, you know, how to relate with people, you know, how to treat someone that's more senior to you or equal to you or junior to you. The scriptures tell all of that, because also different kinds of relationships. The way you relate to someone that's senior to you is different than how you relate to someone that's equal to you. Is different than the way, huh? And then Johnny's saying, and also what is seniority? So there's different kinds of seniority. There's three kinds of seniority. You're senior by physical age, senior by your position. Position means like someone's a manager, someone's just a laborer or whatever. And position, I mean, and into also senior according to spiritual advancement. Someone's more spiritually advanced than you, someone's less spiritually advanced. So there's different kinds of seniority as well. So there's so many different permutations, combinations, and the scriptures, you know, give us all this insight which we can apply in our life. It takes a lot of intelligence to process all these things, but so it takes some time, you know, so gradually we try to absorb the culture, and then whatever you hear, whatever like we're hearing now, you know, you try to apply in your life. So what we're hearing now, we call this is theoretical knowledge, we call it jnana. And then you apply it, and when you apply it, that's called vijnana. And that's applied knowledge, you get some realization. So now we're hearing if you have a senior person, you treat them like that. If you have equal, you treat them like that. The junior, treat like that. So we hear that, and then you know that. And then when you put into practice, then you'll get the experience, you know, then you get the realization like that. And that's science, right? In the science, you have theory, right? You have starts off scientific processes theory, then you make an experiment, and then you get a result. So the theory, that's like yarn, and then the result is like the vegan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was thinking that the simplest way is, I mean, one way is the complex way. You're saying that you have to understand senior or junior. One way would be respect everyone. I mean, it's like, you know, you don't have to, then you don't need to categorize that he's higher or lower. Respect everyone in a similar way. I mean, even if he's a Vaishya or some doing some menial than you or something, or senior than you, respect everyone. So you don't need to.
Yeah, no, that's true. You respect everyone, but still the way you deal with them will be slight variations.
Yeah, but I think if that would be, I mean, in terms of dealing differently with the other person, I mean, that kind of yeah, in material world, in material terms, you can say you treat differently, but spiritually you would be saying, you know, you have to be respect everyone irrespective of what their material position is or spiritual position.
Yeah. No, you
Safer, I mean,
respect, yeah, no, that's a fact. You respect everyone, but how you manifest that respect, that will be slightly different. You know, like Like a
what I think
senior,
is that, yeah,
if someone's senior to you or equal or senior, you give a gift to them. If you're and and you give service, you'll give service to the senior, and the senior will give his mercy to us in terms of giving us good advice, good instructions, like that. But and if someone's junior to you, then you will give them good instructions. You will give them prasadam, give them some food, like that. And the senior also, you can give them prasadam and they can accept that. But if the junior, if someone not very advanced, we might not take food from them. Means like if they were a meat eater, if they means they're not very advanced, they're a meat eater, not very advanced. So it would not be the correct thing to do to take food from them. And like we discussed that before, right? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling, he would only eat food in the Brahmin's house. Remember we read that? He would only eat the food in the Brahmin's house. So he wouldn't go and accept food from the Sudra's house or the Vaishya's house, but he would eat from the Brahmin's house. Does that mean Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't respect the Sudra? No, of course he respects the Sudra, but that is not going to be beneficial to accept food from someone that's in the mode of ignorance. That's not going to be progressive. That's going to bring the person down. But the person in the mode of goodness can give food to the person in the mode of ignorance. That's good for them. Like today we went to Caitanya and we gave free food for 150 people. So most of these people are in the mode of ignorance and so forth. And we respect all of them, and how we manifest that, we give them food. But I should not and would not, accept their food, which would be some burgers with sausages and beef and so forth. I couldn't accept that from them. So like that, everyone respects everyone, but there's slight, variations in how you express that. Does that make sense?
yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I understand that what you're saying is that if it doesn't align with your um, spiritual standards, you can, politely or diplomatically say that these are materially, but spiritually, I mean, these are all material behaviors, right? How you treat, yeah, but spiritually you are the same. If somebody say a Vaishya comes in and says, come to my house, and I want to cook, but I want to host you in that scenario. But
Hey,
he
you're freezing a bit. I'm
can,
not able to hear everything you're saying. It's freezing a bit.
okay. Yeah. So can you hear me now? Or no, still freezing, is it?
It's better. It's better. It's better.
No, yeah, I was saying that, sometimes somebody with love is coming, even though he is not following all the spiritual regulations or
Yeah.
regulatory things,
Yeah.
but he coming
Yeah.
with love, and he's got respect for you, and he wants you to come in his house. But in that scenario, what is happening? I mean, what you gonna do? You gonna say no to them, or
Yeah, it's case by
they
case.
are
I mean, like I said, there's a lot of permutations in that, so you have to, look at the specific case.
what I'm
But
trying to say.
in some cases, like if someone invited me, they're not following all the rules and everything. I might come and I might just take like fruits and water. That would be acceptable, but not to have, cooked food, especially if they're eating, meat and stuff like that. Um, if they realize, that we're Hare Krishna and we, need only vegetarian food and that, if they were prepared to make some adjustments and
Yeah,
cook
that's
in
what I'm
some
saying. I mean,
clean pots and everything, and took some guidance in that, then there might be some, way of accepting more.
I think I understand, but it's bit kind of a tricky in some sense to judge things, to gauge. Not everyone has full understanding of things. It's very difficult, but yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
You might, on a case-to-case basis, but respect is there for everyone. It's
Of
not
course,
like
respect is there. Yeah.
respect is there that
Yeah.
that kind of feeling that seniority shouldn't have that kind of a false ego that I'm senior than that.
Correct.
That
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
thing shouldn't come there
Yeah.
as well. So humility
Yeah.
again should be there. When you
Yeah.
have the humility, I think the other quality automatically comes in is the respect for everyone. I mean, if you're not
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the automatic
Mm.
symptom of
Mm.
if you're humble, then you respect everyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
material world, you have to manage all
Yeah.
these things. I think
Yeah.
what you're saying is in material world, you have to manage things. You can manage it in a different way, yes, based
Yeah.
on what situation, what person, what kind of situation. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Mm.
it's. I think it's for me, it's a bit complex, easy for you,
Yeah.
but
No, I mean,
yeah.
but the
But
ultimate thing that clarifies it is everyone should be obedient to God's rules. So
yeah,
if God
that's
is giving some rules, like, for a Vaishnava to take, meat from a meat eater, that's against Bhagavan's rules. So that it's not a matter of whether I respect the person or
yeah.
not
I mean,
respect the person, but it's a matter of,
it's
well, I have to respect God's rules that,
yes.
for God wants me to behave in this way. So whatever I think doesn't really matter. I just have to follow the rules. So this is called, what we're talking about is called Vaishnav etiquette. So Vaishnav etiquette means like the rules and regulations that govern the behavior. So that's called the Vaishnav etiquette. So there's some rules that govern the behavior. So we have to behave in such a way that Bhagavan is pleased. And what pleases Bhagavan is not necessarily going to please everyone. Like I've mentioned before, that my parents weren't very happy with some of the choices I made. But the choices I made were pleasing Bhagavan. So you're not, like there's a saying, you can please, what is it saying? You can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time, or something like that. You can please, what is it? Some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, if you're gonna try to live your life to try to please everyone, it's not gonna work. You can't make everyone happy. But our focus is primarily to make Krishna happy. And then we have faith that if Krishna's happy, then other people will become happy also. But sometimes, there will be people that won't be pleased with the choices that we make. But that's just the way it is,
Part of
because we're all at
Yeah,
different
you
level of
cannot please everyone.
consciousness.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah,
cannot please everyone.
yeah,
Yeah, that's it. So we have to do what God is saying and
yeah.
what is yeah.
But
So
even if I had to decline from going to someone's house to eat what they were cooking, but that's how you do it. It's like you decline in a very gentle way. You don't be harsh. You don't say, "Oh, you're a sinful meat eater or something.
not very
I'm not
direct.
going to come." Say,
More
you
diplomatic.
just be very polite, and gentle, like that, not an arrogant way. Like I said, you have to be
Yeah,
very polite and gentle and everything. I'm
in a
sorry I
humble
can't
way.
make it this time. Maybe I have some dietary restrictions. I could have some fruits at your place, but I can't have a full meal or whatever. So you just present it in a very sensitive way. We definitely don't want to hurt anyone's feelings unnecessarily. That's definitely not our objective. But at the same time, we have to be obedient to God's rules for us, like that. Like we've promised, like as an initiated disciple, we've made a vow not to eat meat, fish, or eggs. So that's our promise to our guru, which is a representative of God. So we can't break that just to please, other people. And like Gianty, when she was working, she found that all her boss and her workmates respected her principles, that she was a strict vegetarian, and nobody tried to make her break her principles of being a vegetarian. And often, just to please her, they would go out for the work meetings. They would select a vegetarian restaurant, even a Hare Krishna restaurant, just to make sure she was comfortable. So they had so much respect that she was strictly following her, principles like that, and they respected that. So there's no harm in just feeling very, like, how would you say that, Jayanti? Very, like, secure in your morals and values, sort of thing. Is that right? Very, and being confident and secure in your morals and values. You stick.
Yeah.
People respect that you're a man of you're a man or woman of your principles. You're a principled person. If you just bend according to the people you're with, then what's that? You've got no backbone.
Like people, I remember people go and change their name. Like people from India or Nepal, like they'll change their name just to fit in with. They think, oh, if you don't have a English name, then they're not going to be recognized.
So did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear it. Yeah, I've seen
That's
that.
an interesting
many of
point.
them.
Yeah, people do.
That's an interesting point, that people change their name just to fit in with other people.
Yeah, I have seen that. I mean, that's not a big deal. I mean, but they are doing it because they want to be. Sometimes Indian names are too difficult to say. I mean, or Nepalese name too difficult to say. So it's if you're working with colleagues. I mean, if you're changing it to just fit it in, I mean, that's just it's just because majority of people can't take your name or something. So maybe, I mean, then change it to English names or something like that. But they are changing it to just not for something they're gonna gain. They're trying to make their life easier a bit. But it's not like something that they're trying to imitate, that I'm gone white or something. I want to. Yeah, it's kind of a fit in, yes. And they say that as you should do as Romans do if you go to Rome or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, the intention should be to make easy for others people, yourself as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, we have to. I mean, use your power of discretion basically to situations. As you said, you can say politely to people or diplomatically say, I cannot eat it today, or I've got a fast, or something like that. But you're still kind of, when you're humbly saying that, you're basically respecting them as well, and respecting your principles as well. So it's so it's more materially, but respect has to be there. Yes, without respect, I think you are busy too today.
Unfortunately, our time's up. But that was very nice. That was very nice to get together. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too. You too. Bye.